Timothy Wanyonyi, MP Westlands. That one is also deferred. Honorable members, I would like to inquire from the Honorable Kitani. Please approach the table. Request the Honorable Sabina Chege, please approach the table.
So I request the clerk to call
Order number 17.
Order number 17, motion, formulation of a regulatory framework on artificial intelligence in the country.
the Honorable Marianne Kitani. Please proceed. I request the clerk.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Motion on artificial intelligence, on regulatory framework on artificial intelligence in the country. That aware that the world is rapidly embracing artificial intelligence, or AI, which is the use of a digital computer or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks commonly associated with the intelligent beings, and acknowledging that the 2022 Government Artificial Intelligence Readiness Index report ranked Kenya the 5th in Africa and 90th globally in readiness to adopt artificial intelligence. Further acknowledging that the Oxford Insight Survey 2022 pegged Kenya's readiness to adopt AI at 40.3%, and appreciating that AI or artificial intelligence has brought forth positive benefits that have increased efficiency in different sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, and robotics, and concerned that the exponential rate at which the artificial intelligence is being embraced in the society without proper regulatory mechanisms has caused various negative consequences such as rising cases of intelligence, disinformation, and fake news, and noting that there is need to protect Kenyans from potential AI-mediated harms such as privacy breaches, AI-powered fake technology algorithmic discrimination, autonomous weapons, job displacement and economic inequality, social manipulation and misinformation, financial market manipulation, and privacy invasion. Now, therefore, this House urges the government through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy to, 1, formulate a regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of artificial intelligence for AI in the country, to control potential use, and 2, develop and execute public awareness programs on artificial intelligence to raise understanding of artificial intelligence, fostering transparency and promoting responsible use of AI for the I implementation of a regulatory framework on artificial intelligence in the country and add for the development section.
At 40.3%, appreciating mechanisms has caused various negative consequences economic discrimination, autonomous weapons, job displacement and economic inequality, social manipulation and misinformation, financial market manipulation, and privacy invasion. Now, therefore, this House urges the government, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy to 1. Formulate a regulation framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of artificial intelligence in the country to control its potential misuse. And 2, develop and execute a public awareness program of artificial intelligence to raise understanding of AI, foster transparency, and promote responsible use of AI for the benefit of all. Honorable Gideon Ochanda. The Honorable Karemba, do you have a point of order? Anything out of order, Honorable Karemba?
Not a point of order.
You wanted to contribute?
Yes.
In that case, let me give the first opportunity to the Honorable Gideon Ochanda. Are you interested in this one or it was the earlier one? Okay, you may proceed.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the world is moving very, very, very fast. And in the study of what we call political science, the animals that move so slowly is the governments. Governments are very slow. They can't move at the speed at which the world is going. And the world is going that route because of it's being driven by individuals and minds that are towards making things easy or easier to be done, easier to be delivered, easier to be understood, and effortlessly making things work. Madam Speaker, if one were to look at this country in the last 20 years only, you looked at how we have moved from the issue of even the telephone alone, when we had these fixed cubes of telephone. In the last 20 years, if you had to do an international call, you had to book, you come to Ex-Telecom here in Nairobi, for you to be booked for a number of weeks before you are connected to US. And these things are not long ago. They are very recent. And we've seen them come and pass. And now, one of the greatest problems that states are to have is the issue of insecurity related to where technology is taking us to. The police, the intelligence, the governments, wherever they are at risk because individuals are ahead of them. Citizens are ahead of them. That's why there's this outcry, because you are trying to adjust, you are trying to adapt with a speed that you are not able to cope. That's why one day you hear about a person running a completely different parallel press. The government is not aware, the main press is not aware, and the following day it brings issues. So we are slow. Governments are slow. Governments, when it comes to what we call the inertia, they take too long to turn. And by the time they turn, they'll find when individuals are far, far much ahead of them. And that's where we are with technology. So, Madam Speaker, what I'm trying to say is that if our governments are not able, in fact, some of this needs to be clear-cut departments with smart people. Some of these guys that we are chasing outside there needs to be in government. These guys who are running away with the computers and are able to do certain things that are beyond us, that are surprising us, needs to be collected. They need to be somewhere where they need to be working for this government. Otherwise, when we leave them outside there, unregulated, because you can't say something is illegal if it is not in law. Yeah? If it is not in law, it is not illegal. So even if when one commits it, whether it is bad or wrong, there's nowhere you will take them to. And that's exactly where we are in this nation as at now. That we have individuals ahead of this government in terms of IQ, in terms of where they are, in terms of technology, they are ahead. And the best that the government is supposed to do is to collect this guy somewhere. And I think that's what many governments are doing. Collect all these smart brains, have them somewhere. Because you know, if you leave them, they are going to be ahead of you. And it's going to be a disaster. Number two, Madam Speaker, we are talking about unemployment. The issue of AI is the issue that is to deal with labor problems. Labor. Smart brains. So have them somewhere. Because you know, if you leave them, they're going to be ahead of you. I've been to a school, a big high school.
Number two, Madam Speaker,
where there are 8 streams of classes. And this school,
the issue
compared
of
to
AI,
other schools, including mine, a school in my constituency that's employing 98 teachers, this school is only employing 18 teachers. And they are working in a manner that one teacher in a small corner of a computer room is able to handle 8 streams or 8 classes at a go. So look at that. If we went that route, what happens with these many teachers that we are training? That's where the contradiction comes in. What happens to these thousands of people that we are training? This government has done very well, particularly in terms of recruitment of teachers. We are above 70,000 people teachers that have been recruited. Those that have not been recruited are still in their thousands. Those that are in colleges are in their thousands. Universities alone are churning not less than 100,000 people or students each year. Funny, Madam Speaker, you know, when I finished university, my first degree, we were only 2,019 people in the whole country. And this is not long ago. Now we are churning out over 100,000 in 1 year. Where are they going to? So while we look at that in terms of the amount of labor that we are likely to churn out for work, Compare
when
that
I
with
finished
where we are
university, my
moving
first
towards the
degree,
issue of
we are
AI.
only 2019.
And many are not still looking at this.
people in the
We are likely to be in
And this is not long
crazy
ago.
situations.
Now we are
That's where
sending
there's
out
this
over
thing that I was talking,
100,000,
that Ketan
in
had
1
talked
year.
about.
The
Where are
issue
they
of
going?
awareness. So what is it that
While
we
we
need to
look
put
at that
forward
in terms of the
as
amount
governments,
of
as
labor that we are
Are
likely
we able to
churn
prepare
out,
our people that no, let them look out?
No,
When I
are
finished university,
likely
my first degree,
going to
we were
be
only
out of jobs.
2000.
There will be no jobs for them.
Why?
People in
Because
the
of AI.
And this
AI,
why? Because we
Now
can't
we are
avoid
sending
it.
out
It's where the world is going.
100,000,
So
in
we'll
1
be
year.
remaining with the
Where
bulk
are they
of our
going?
guys. So
The bulk
while
of-
we look
of
at
our-
that
our
in terms
labor
of the amount
stranded
of
here.
labor that we are likely
And
to
when they're
churn
stranded,
out, that's again
for-
another problem. So
No, when
the
I
balancing.
finished university, my
You know,
first
our
degree,
people resisted
we were only 2019.
tea picking machines.
People in the whole
I
country.
don't know how many are able to
And this is
remember
not
that.
long ago.
All of a
Now
sudden,
we are churning
those
out over
machines are picked up.
100,000
And
in
they are
1
working.
year. Where are they
What
going?
has happened to the people who are doing
So
it? Who are
while
picking
we
it?
look at that in
They're no
terms
longer
of the
complaining,
amount of
but
labor
it is
that we are likely to
beneficial
churn out,
to those that
for-
invest in the sector.
No, when I finished university, my first degree,
You must reduce
we were only
the cost.
2000.
The cost of labor is one of those costs in production that is so high, particularly in most of the countries, and even including ours. The people who also go to work,
Where
don't
they
go with
going?
the attitude that they are
So,
working.
while
for
we look at
purposes of
that
making
in
sure
terms of
that
the
everybody
amount
benefits,
of
they
labor
go
that
to
we
work
are
in the
likely
name of
churn
getting
out,
money. They don't care what they are doing.
for-
It's just a matter of the end month is there.
No,
they
when
have
I
to go.
finished university, my first
So
degree,
by the end of the day,
we were only
if a
2019.
potential employer or any other employer anywhere else realizes that they have alternatives, to that labor,
So,
they'll definitely
where are they
cut
going
it.
to?
As a people,
So,
as
we
a-
must be
while
very,
we
very
look
careful
at that in
moving
terms
forward.
of the amount
AI
of
is a
labor
must.
that we are likely to churn out,
And if you don't do it, if you don't regulate it, it's going to be. No, when I
it's going to run
finished
ahead of
university,
us.
my first
It's going to
degree,
run ahead of the
we are only
government.
2000.
People are going to do it.
potential
And already
employer
they experiment.
or any other employer
Some
anywhere
countries
else
are delivering,
realizes
I
that they
think,
have
blood and all that
alternatives to
with
that
the
labor,
robots in
they'll
the country.
definitely pick it.
So what
So,
happens
as a
if
country,
Lamu
as a
has
people,
robots,
we must be very, very
Busia has
careful
robots, and all
moving
of them
forward.
are in the air,
AI is a must.
running helter-skelter everywhere else.
And
without
if you
any
don't do it, if you don't
without
regulate
any
it,
kind
it's
of-
going to be commands. So I want to believe, Madam Speaker, this is apt.
If a
the
potential
motion is
employer
apt,
or
and
any
the
other
government
employer
must
anywhere
do
else
it. Even when they
realizes
look at
that
it
they
in terms of
have
how motion is
alternatives to
implemented
that
or
labor,
not,
they'll definitely
gives
pick
the
it.
government a
So,
warning
as a country,
that there's
as a
something that
people,
must be done.
we must be
Thank
very,
you, very
very
careful moving forward. AI is a must. And if you don't do it, if you don't regulate it, it's going to be. If a potential employer or any other employer anywhere else realizes that they have alternatives to that
Please raise him
labor,
and
they'll
give him the
definitely give the government a warning
And,
as a country that there's something that
Honorable
must be
Speaker,
done. We must be
Karema
very,
is
very
also my
careful moving forward. AI is a
I'll
must.
always be very comfortable.
And if you
Yeah,
don't do
it's
it,
my
if you
name,
don't
it's my
regulate it, it's
official-
going
it's
to
an official name.
If
Yeah.
a potential employer or any other employer anywhere else
Thank you.
realizes that they have
So, Honorable
alternatives
Speaker,
to that
I
labor,
want to
they'll
rise
definitely give the
to
government
support
a
this
warning
motion
as a country that there's something
by the
must be
Honorable
very, very
members of
careful
Mandai.
moving forward.
And
AI
I
is a
would say
must.
it is a very timely motion.
And if you
given
don't
that
do it,
the world
if you don't regulate
is
it, it's
moving
going to
very
be
fast in matters technology. And
If
there
a
isn't
potential
better
employer
time to
or
introduce
any other
this
employer anywhere else
conversation. Thank you.
realizes that they have alternatives
Speaker,
to that
I
labor,
want to
they'll
rise
definitely give
AI,
the government
Madam
a
Speaker,
warning.
has
As a
great
country,
potential.
as a people,
by the
we must be very, very careful
and
moving forward.
And
AI is a
it's
must.
a very timely
very many
motion.
areas.
If you don't do it, if you
But
don't
still, Honorable
regulate it,
Speaker,
it's
it
going to
has great potential for damages.
If
And
a
Honorable Speaker,
potential employer or
when it
any other
comes to
employer anywhere else
distorting information,
realizes that they have
AI
alternatives
has
to that
enormous
labor,
potential in
they'll
doing so.
definitely
And
pick it.
it
So,
should be in
as a
our
country,
interest to
as a
regulate
people,
this
we must be very, very
space,
careful
the
moving
artificial
forward.
intelligence space,
AI is a must.
so that we ensure that
And if you don't do it, if you
information
don't
is
regulate it,
is
it's
not
going to
distorted, because this country in the past and
If
even in
a
the most
potential
recent
employer
past
or any
has
other
been a
employer
victim
anywhere
of,
realizes
of
that they have alternatives
distortion of
to that
information,
labor,
which
they'll
has
definitely pick it.
potential
So,
to bring
as a
about
country, as a
conflict.
people,
So
I imagine
moving
that
forward. AI is
this
a must.
government, our government rather,
If you don't do it,
must,
if you don't regulate it, it's going to
move fast and regulate the artificial intelligence space.
If a potential employer
Owing to the
or
fact
any other
that
employer anywhere
artificial intelligence
realizes
nowadays
that they
is
have
even being used
alternatives to that
in
labor,
the space of
they'll definitely
healthcare.
pick it.
It's also
So,
being
as a
used in
country,
the space
as a
of
people,
manufacturing.
we must be very, very careful
It is also
moving
being
forward.
used in the space
AI
of
is a must.
education. So how can we,
if you don't do it, if
in
you
a
don't
world that
regulate
is
it, it's
moving
going
very
to
fast,
be reluctant in regulating this space.
If a
So
potential
before
employer
all
or
Kenyans
any other
embrace
employer anywhere else realizes that they
artificial
have
intelligence, because I
alternatives to that
believe
labor,
many Kenyans have already embraced
So,
artificial
as a country,
intelligence.
as a people,
So before
we
all,
must be very,
and
very
before
careful.
It's also being used
all
in the space
countries
of
embrace it,
education.
we need to
So how
be
can we,
among the very first
in a world
countries
that
in
is moving
Africa
very fast,
to be reluctant in regulating this space, so that we can
before
provide
all
all Kenyans embrace and a space that is artificial intelligence regulated. Because I believe for the generations many Kenyans have already embraced. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. So before all, and before
it's also being
all
used in the
countries
space of
embrace it.
education.
The Honorable
So
Stephen
how can
Mugaka,
we,
member for
in a
West
world that is
Mugirango.
moving very fast,
Be reluctant in regulating this space. So before all Kenyans embrace artificial intelligence, because I believe many Kenyans have already embraced artificial intelligence. So before all,
Thank you.
before
Thank you so
all
much, Madam
countries
Speaker,
embrace it.
for the opportunity for me to contribute to this
in a world that is moving very fast,
overdue motion.
Reluctant in
And I want to thank the Honorable Marian Kitani
all Kenyans
for this focus, forethought, and for waking up the country to the reality of life now.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker,
the opportunity
we all
for me
know
to
that
contribute to this,
technology
overdue
is the
motion.
driver
And I
of
want to thank
everything
the Honorable
at the
Marian
moment.
Kitani
And AI is
for
the
his
latest
focus,
entrant
forethought,
into
and
the
for
toolkit in
waking up the
ICT
country
that has made
the
work
reality of
extremely
life
easy now.
that has increased efficiency,
Madam
that has
Speaker,
made
we all
it
know
possible
that
to improve productivity, but
is the
that has
driver
also
of
come with
everything
equal dangers
at the moment.
because
And
technology,
AI
like
is the latest entrant
like anything
into
good, is a
the
double-edged sword.
toolkit in
And as much as it is
ICT
very
that has
helpful
made
and
work
extremely
extremely
easy,
easy
now the driver
that
has increased
of,
efficiency,
serious economies of this
that has
country,
made it
all
possible
know that,
globe to improve productivity,
having
that has also come with equal
everything
dangers.
at the
Employ
moment.
AI
And
technology
AI
like
is happening
the
elsewhere in the
latest
world,
like anything good, you can see the harbor
sword that is being
and
created
as much as it is
by military
very helpful
people who are not at the forefront of this
but are
country,
remotely
of this
attacking their perceived enemies and causing a lot of harm. Madam Speaker, Kenya has invested heavily in technical training institutes, and we have supplied them with very basic ICT support material. I am urging this country, and this House in particular, to incorporate AI training and AI training infrastructure in all our technical training institutes so that we tool our learners with the latest toolkit in the technological world. Because I'm aware that with AI, the practice of all professions, call it medicine, call it law, call it architecture, has been completely revolutionized. I do remember, Madam Speaker, courtesy of the COVID-19, as a practicing lawyer, we didn't know where we would have gone if our judicial system had not automated, so that we were able
to practice law from our houses, practice law from our home, present witnesses from where they are, rather than having to transport them to courts and expose them to COVID-19. And I'm happy that we did those basic steps out of total necessity. Now we are where it is either you embrace AI or you are edged out of whatever market or business that you are in. It is my humble prayer that in the budgets going forward, we must start with a policy framework of how to embrace AI and maximize its utility so that we release a lot of man-hours of people traveling on the roads to workplaces, of sitting in the offices waiting for a colleague to bring a key to open so that you access your working material, so that we can release as much labor or man-hours as possible to alternative economic employment. In other words, Madam Speaker, I am saying what machine can do, let not man bother to struggle to do, because machines are efficient, impossible to interfere with, incorruptible, and therefore this is the direction this country should go. Looking at the budget we have in the education sector, for instance, Madam Speaker, where we are told that even with that budget, other children in this country are still learning under trees. We need so much infrastructure, investment in physical infrastructure, that is mortar, and I think going forward, and this is the direction, we do not need to have our children in boarding schools. We do not have to have our children in schools. Children can learn from home so that we can improve parenting and be able to reduce the rate of inclination into criminal conduct of our young persons because of lack of parental care and guidance wherever they are. And I want to plead that our ICT ministry wakes up and draws a policy framework that this House should debate, discuss, approve, and then inculcate, create a very deliberate learning program for all sectors, both private and public sector, so that as a country, we embrace technology, we embrace AI, we exploit the advantages of that AI and be able to be an industrial giant in a very short while. And as we do that, we urge the engineers in this sector to be very candid with the country on the dangers associated with the use of that technology so that we build up firewalls, we build up regulatory mechanisms to ensure that what is so good when used badly does not become extremely destructive. And with that, Madam Speaker, I support and thank the people of West Mogrango all the time for making me their Member of Parliament. And I think, Madam Speaker, I invite you there to confirm that I attend Parliament every other day and make contributions whenever asked to do so. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Actually, when you are speaking, I noticed that you seem to be very happy today. So, and you are also bringing the same happiness to the House, and thank you for your invitation. The Honorable Geoffrey Mulanya, member for Nambale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the opportunity to speak on this motion. Madam Speaker, as has been said by my colleagues, it is very important that we get a proper regulatory framework to control the use of artificial intelligence in this country. We know that the society is moving very fast. And Madam Speaker, you know that every time we have new children born in society, their minds are racing ahead of even the parents. And this is because of the information technology that's being availed. You buy a new phone, there are new technology that is being advanced daily. But now the government is not moving at the same pace in this particular space. You note that, Madam Speaker, currently as you speak, the AI is the one being used by most doctors right now in prescribing medicine, which is dangerous. AI is being used in education for teachers who are preparing learning lessons to teach in schools. AI is being even used in the legal fraternity. The other day, I had a complaint from a judge indicating that young advocates are now using AI to prepare submissions to forward in court, whereby they are quoting non-existing laws, non-existing judicial precedents that we rely on in legal, in our courts, so that this can easily mislead a court to arrive at a wrong decision. Because in legal, in our legal circles, we normally rely heavily on the previous decided case so that we have a sequence. We don't want to have contradictions. But when someone is now coming in, we're using artificial intelligence to prepare submissions, quote non-existing cases, you find out that the judge that is presiding over the case is easily going to be misled. We also have the AI being used by architects drawing houses, which is now becoming very dangerous. Madam Speaker, you note, as it has been said, The lack of regulatory framework is one that has led into all these things happening in our society. It's therefore very important that we formulate regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of the artificial intelligence in the country to control the potential misuse. We have had cases of fake news appearing in our social media because we have young intelligence people coming up with the newspaper headlines with screaming news that are fake. But all this information is distorting society that is a potential risk to a conflict. So, Madam Speaker, I support the motion and say that it is extremely timely. Support Honorable Marianne Keitany and thank her for bringing up this particular motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Member for Nambale. The Honorable Dr. John Mutunga, Member for Tigania West and Chair Agriculture.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to the Honorable Marianne Keitany's motion on the need for regulatory framework in the use of artificial intelligence. Honorable Speaker, in the stage at which we are technologically, Kenya will have no choice other than embrace artificial intelligence. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, we've already embraced anyway in certain sectors, and the process is ongoing. So what is important, and what the Honourable Member is speaking so loudly about, is having a regulatory framework that will basically guide on how to use artificial intelligence in the advent of losses of job, potential losses of job, and the need for further and more intensive and more complicated industrialization, as well as the growth of stage that we are in. Honourable Speaker, we witness in movies, and sometimes in the newscasts, most of the time, we see how artificial intelligence has played a role in especially collecting intelligence from various places, and also for even mapping, geomapping of an area, where we use drones, even determining where to spray in agricultural, pest and disease control. Artificial intelligence has become very, very, very important. In modern warfare, drones have been used quite a lot. And I believe one of the advancements that we need today is that artificial intelligence which can enable us to identify the powers of the enemy, the placement and the distribution of the enemy, their world warfare, and the investments in various areas. We have also seen that in the service sector, artificial intelligence has become very, very important. And therefore, it is key that we embrace artificial intelligence as a country. Honourable Speaker, last 2 months, I think it was in April, I happened to participate in a convention on coffee marketing in Houston, in America. And we were amazed by the level at which certain countries have reached in terms of service of the coffee itself, where a robot takes an order from a human being, prepares the coffee, serves the coffee in specific amounts, and basically ensures that payment is done, and make sure that the combinations are correct. So there is need for us to focus on how do we then embrace artificial intelligence, even as the knowledge permeates across the board. So it's a must that the country must embrace, but embraces in a systematic manner and in a manner that we are able to contain the user. Our Speaker, regulation is important. We need to discern which areas should we actually allow or control, what measures of control should we take when it comes to use of artificial intelligence. It is important for us to also focus on the areas that probably are dangerous to human beings so that we may promote artificial intelligence, especially when it comes to manufacturing. We know for sure that most of the manufacturing sector has embraced artificial intelligence, especially in other countries. And in this country also, we have investments in this particular area. So as we look at how do we invest in this area, what levels of control should we exercise, and how do we manage this? We need a policy. And this policy direction will help us as a country to manage this particular process. Kenya is noted as one of the countries in Africa that has advanced in this. In terms of ICT, Honourable Speaker, we are an advanced country. We are doing a lot. And investment in ICT is a purposed decision of the current government. There is a whole ministry that is looking at the possibilities within the digital divide, how we can exploit the opportunities therein, even to employ our children. Honourable Speaker, when we are looking at these possibilities, let us discern which section, which part of the investment structure should we use artificial intelligence. And Honourable Speaker, we are talking about digitization every year. Every time, every sector is getting through digitization. Even as we look at digitization, we may also know that it is not possible for us to control the learners. Research has to go on in various areas of ICT. We have to have our learners trying out options and possibilities. We know in the process of trying out options and possibilities, innovations in this country have been born, and they are born fruits, and they have really created a lot of employment, especially the M-Pesa, for instance, innovation. There are very many other innovations that have come by. There may be innovations that will also replace the possible job losses. So we need to allow research to continue, but in containment, to the extent that we need to be able to know which area is being focused on and what are the possible findings that we are looking at. Honourable Speaker, there's a lot of disinformation, especially in this country, and this disinformation is a lot more propagated through the media and through the social media. Social media has embraced sufficient use of ICT. And that being the case, how can we also use artificial intelligence to enhance verification of the information that goes out? Honourable Speaker, as we move on, and even as we look at the court process where the burden of proof must be, must go on through to whatever extent, we are looking at a future where possibilities, there are possibilities that people will say, using drones, we are able to collect this information. But we need to control this particular use of artificial intelligence to the extent that, because we know what we put in is what generates an output. And therefore, we need to be able to control how we use these options, as it were. There are several possibilities that are important for us. First of all, containment of the news and news content. It is very important for us to know what kind of artificial intelligence was used to collect what news, and whether there are possibilities before release of such news. If we do not contain this, then we are likely to be finding ourselves in cases where a proof has not been given and there has been sufficient circulation, which may mislead most of the Kenyans. The other issue is the control of associated onslaughts or the areas where we have embraced artificial intelligence. We need a verification mechanism, Honourable Speaker, whereby we will be able to know exactly how does the use of this technology lead to generation of information that probably can call as credible, reliable, and verifiable. And if the information is not verifiable, Honourable Speaker, we need to have mechanisms that can help us to shun this, to get this information from circulation. When we focus on job losses, Honourable Speaker, artificial intelligence is likely to lead to job losses, yes. We are a country in transition which requires to employ most of our people, and also it can be a possibility that our people can be employed in this particular area. So even as we look at advancement and the use of this particular technology, then we may be looking at how can we use it in tandem with promotion of productivity within the productive sector so that we are also creating more jobs, such that we win off those tasks that are difficult, tasks that are risky, tasks that require a lot more of machinery use, and then we place human beings to those tasks that require a lot of intensive scrutiny. Honourable Speaker, public awareness is very important. In our country, the awareness levels are high, but unfortunately, most of the information that circulates around is not necessarily very credible, not verifiable, and not reliable. How can we use this artificial intelligence to ensure that we develop sufficient understanding to our people on how to even cross-check information that they are being given? Honourable Speaker, it is important for us to foster transparency and the responsible use of AI. It is possible for us to do that through a very elaborate policy framework. And that is why I believe this particular this particular motion has come at the right time. We need to distinguish which sectors can embrace artificial intelligence. We need to distinguish which functions within those sectors that can embrace artificial intelligence and to what extent. And we need a mechanism of measuring out to try and exactly establish what level of use are we talking about. So, Honourable Speaker, there is the issue of ethical standards and ethics of information that is transmitted. That needs also to be focused on, and can only be achieved through a policy guideline. Honorable Speaker, those very few remarks, I wish to support this particular motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Cecilia Getit, member for Turkana County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this good motion by my colleague, Honorable Keitany. Madam Speaker, AI, looking at its definition, is that technology of enabling computers perform functions that humans have been performing, including making decisions, computers having ability to see, understand, and translate spoken and written language, analyze data, and all that. Therefore, Madam Speaker, there are ethical concerns that come along with this. If we don't regulate that space, how safe are we in terms of our privacy, in terms of safety of our data, the security, and the potential impact on human autonomy, necessitating responsible governance and regulation, Madam Speaker? The AI has both advantages and disadvantages, Madam Speaker. And of course, in terms of regulating, we need to focus on the disadvantages so that this space is regulated to give us more benefits than disadvantages, Madam Speaker. In Kenya now, our young people are looking for jobs. If AI is embraced fully, 100%, that means our people will lose jobs. And those that want jobs will now have no future of getting jobs, Madam Speaker. So there's need to have a regulation where there is some percentage of AI being embraced, not 100%, to make our people lose jobs, Madam Speaker. Then there's the security risk, Madam Speaker, the cyber attacks. The AI depends on data mostly, the research data. If we don't regulate the space, our data can be at risk. So I think as a country, before embracing this, we really need to have very serious regulations, Madam Speaker, that will address ethical concerns like biases and discrimination, security risks, and then high development and implementation costs, Madam Speaker. This needs very massive and serious investment in terms of infrastructure, research, and all that. So it's not something we can just rush into without really having very serious regulations, Madam Speaker. And then there is the risk of a reliance of the humans now on these computer things, Madam Speaker. I think AI will need to be regulated. If our students will be asked any question in school and then they just access the AI information and data, then it will kill the ability of our students reasoning and really expounding on things, testing their intelligence. They will now be depending on this AI thing. So the AI information needs to be regulated so that there is some amount of information that you can get in these cyber systems and not everything, Madam Speaker. Because if we just let everything run in the AI perspective, I think as a country, we will have the advantages, but the disadvantages will be enormous, Madam Speaker. So I want to thank Honorable colleague who brought this motion. There's need to regulate this before embracing it. There's need to really dig deeper into its advantages, disadvantages, and then now regulate the disadvantages so that
the impact will be positive and not negative, Madam Speaker. Thank you. I submit.
The Honorable Joseph Dena, nominated member. Please trace the Honorable Dena from my right.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support my colleague. I call her Maria Antoinette. First, we have, it is good that we cannot stop an idea whose time has come. AI is here now and it has come and it will not stop. That is the idea when mobile phones came, and now we have seen the revolutionaries of the mobile phones. But I will want to state on three things, three aspects of it. First is education. The other day, I think Friday, we were with the Minister of Information in Mazeras for the innovation. And we could be able to see they're already using AI. By 7 o'clock, by 8 o'clock, somebody had made 10,000. So it is about wealth creation. Number two, it's AI now is on health. They can be able to tell your blood sample, everything about you in terms of using the AI, even without your knowledge. That I tend to support the regulation into this. The advantages are there, the time has come, but yet at the same time, we have to put the regulation to guide us. Third thing, it's on security, which is key. We can see now in Iran what is happening in Iran and Israel. Somebody you cannot see, somebody you cannot hear, somebody you cannot even have face. There is no plane. And now everybody is going into drone. Security is a key component in any country. If we cannot be able to regularize the AI policy, then we are going to fall into a big problem. So we come to agriculture. Right now, there are drones that are feeding and able to tell the amount of fertilizer, the amount of acreage production, which will determine the food production of a country. And if we look into these things, they are key components of the future of a country. So I tend to support this motion because it is a key component in our life in which we live in. As much as it's good, that we have to be able to create a framework that we can be able to guide the AI in this country. So, Madam Speaker, I tend to support the motion, and I thank my colleague for bringing it up. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Joseph Cherorot, member for Kipkelion East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time in order to support the motion brought by the Member of Parliament from Aldai, Marianne. Madam Speaker, this motion actually has, I can say that it has even delayed because of whatever is going on around our country. I want to say that the other day we were talking of analog and even digital. When the computer came in space, Madam Speaker, we know what has gone through and a lot have taken place in this country. I want to say that the regulating or giving out the framework on how to regulate the use of AI, Madam Speaker, is going actually to help us a lot. I know this is an area which has been embraced by our Kenyan youth and mostly all Kenyans. In our homes, Madam Speaker, even in our bedrooms, we have mobile phones. And in most cases, you find out that even some of our youth, or most of them, are aware of what is going on around the world. So having regulating it, Madam Speaker, will help us actually to guide, even though I know the world actually has become a global village, Madam Speaker. And what is going on, we've seen about content creation and a lot of things, which means that AI has taken a transformative shift in this country. Madam Speaker, if we want actually even our ministries to proceed and even to progress, AI actually is the only way that can be embraced. If you see, Madam Speaker, like in health, Madam Speaker, the other day we had to change. We had to shift to SHA from NHIF because NHIF was using actually the analog way And in the SHA, Madam Speaker, it is digitalized, which means in our ministry, like Ministry of Health, even KRA, using AI can help us even to develop economically, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to say that if we want to also to prosper in our businesses, AI is the only way. Madam Speaker, you find yourself, you are seated in the house, and you do some orders, and within a short time, you do deliveries are dropped in your house just because of AI. So I want to mention that as a person, I'm supporting what actually the Member of Parliament, Honorable Marianne, has brought about this regulation of AI. If we want also to, like what we have mentioned, Madam Speaker, especially in terms of agriculture, there are a lot of things that you cannot use just the common sense that you have, but you have to apply also AI. And also in the cyber security, Madam Speaker, it also helps a lot. So if we can, if whatever is going on around the world, Madam Speaker, like what a colleague has mentioned, the war that is going on now in the Middle East and several other areas, the security, in terms of security, the warfare that is around, like between Israel and Iran, what is going on now is because of the AI, the drones and all that. So, Madam Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Patrick Ntwiga, member for Chuka Igamba Ng'ombe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, from the onset, I stand to support this Ebola business. And I would wish to say the following one. Madam Speaker, when we discuss AI, we are not discussing Kenya as excluded from the rest of the world. So if we continue saying as a country that we want to avoid AI to protect the jobs of our children, we need to know that it's not us who will use AI. AI will be used by the same children. And the rest of the world won't prevent the rest of the world from evolving in AI because Kenya is not prepared. So our lack of preparedness does not tell what the world will do. So, Madam Chair, we really need a regulation because we have a young generation. I like what one of our colleagues from the Ugandan parliament said, that being born in Kenya, it's like being in Form 6 in Uganda. We have a generation that is so quick to learn. Yesterday, I looked at and I wish first to say sorry for what happened yesterday about that man who was shot. And we not even know tell you who, because within that minute, they had created so many faces. They will say, is this one who has been shot? Is this one who has been shot? He is from here. So we had like 10 or 20 people, images that had already been created online on who had been shot, which can really bring chaos and confusion. About the policeman who did what, we had almost a face immediately, after 2 minutes, another one. So we really need a regulation because you can't control that. We can't say now that will prevent young people from using AI or artificial intelligence because it's the next frontier of development in the world. So we can't close ourselves inside the country and be afraid of what is coming because AI is here with us. And the most important thing as a country is to be prepared. And the best preparedness
For this house, as a house that makes laws, is to have a law that will guide artificial intelligence and its use in the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Kainan, member for.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Elders.
I don't know why I left my card.
Yeah, it's unusual.
I hardly forget.
And you know that because of the length of time you have been in this house, we have to indulge you.
So
please proceed.
It's a very, very rare thing. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this motion is timely. I want to thank the Honorable Marianne Keitany. You know, she's a distinguished member of this house. People know her as a first-timer.
I don't know whether you'll...
Yes, I'm saying people know her.
Bent over because of your height, I
yes,
think.
People know her as a first-timer, but she's an all-round, efficient, highly mobilized, former chief of staff. And I'm sure the people of Aldai will not regret in having her as a member of parliament. But that does not mean I have in any way trying to influence how the people of Aldai are likely to think of her and behave. Having said this, this motion is timely. And it's one of the things that we must think out of the box as a country. Madam Speaker, Kenya is a very responsible member of the global village. Let me call the global village. And equally, Kenya is a very resourceful, committed member of the African continent. And Madam Speaker, Kenya is a country of very diverse population. One of the things that we must pride in, recently we were voted as the best in human resource capital by the UN. Madam Speaker, that tag is so important, not only to our diaspora community, but it takes our education system to another level. Madam Speaker, this is why, notwithstanding the different provisions in the current progressive constitution, we must also think out of the box. How do we think out of the box? The right to privacy, the right to associate with whoever you want, the right of your neighbor, the right to you as an individual is all enshrined in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, John McCarthy, who is considered as the father of AI, participated in something called the Dartmouth workshop in 1956. You can imagine where the world was at that particular time. And what he thought of in that particular conference is what is now making everybody sleepless. Madam Speaker, as a country, you can see there is a serious change of guard. I like the way it's organized. It's really organized. I'm sure that is one thing that other institutions should also emulate. Well structured. Madam Speaker, those who invented the use of computers were not competing with the Almighty. Almighty God has created the human beings, the animal beings, and the angels. In my religion, the human being has been given two distinctive abilities. The right to think, that is why God says, God gives you an opportunity to discern what is good and what is right. And you as an individual, you are in a position to either go astray and follow the wrong or follow the right. And one of the things that mankind has done is to be innovative enough, to be creative enough, and use computer. Madam Speaker, what this bill, and I get this, what this motion attempts to do is to, first of all, to acknowledge that we are in the era of AI. This is the first thing. The second thing that this motion attempts to acknowledge is that there is need to have a friendly, institutional-driven framework that will allow the user of the AI not to infringe on the rights of others. And this is why all of us are believers in our Constitution. We accept that we have a Constitution. And that is our supreme law in the Republic of Kenya. Within that Constitution, people are allowed the right to belong to the religion of your choice, the right to associate with whoever you want, as long as you don't infringe the rights of the other person. So what this motion is trying to do is, first of all, to create public awareness. Are Kenyans aware of the AI presence in their midst? Are Kenyans aware of the use, both the advantages and the disadvantages of AI? Mr. Speaker, in the current modern day Kenya, Mr. Speaker, the use of AI has greatly, the unregulated use, let me say this, of AI has greatly caused public disturbance, Mr. Speaker, serious security challenges, and Mr. Speaker, to some extent, an infringement on our sovereign rights as a citizen and as a country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while we accept that AI must foster an efficient, effective use of computers instead of manual application by mind, we must also be prepared as a country that certain shortcuts in the use of AI and what we have seen recently can greatly endanger the lives and properties of the people of Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, therefore, the different types of AIs, one can be reactive, one can use a limited memory of the computer, another one can also apply the theory of mind and play with the mindset of different people. And Mr. Speaker, you can also use something called the self-awareness. That's why you see different images. Some will not even understand. People of my age will not understand. But the youngsters understand and they have their own way of doing things. Mr. Speaker, it's because of this that we must be prepared as a country, as a citizen, Mr. Speaker, to use AI efficiently, reduce operational costs, use it to interpret data, but we must also be prepared that this use, first of all, is going to cause serious loss of jobs. It's also going to contribute to the violation of individual rights, privacy. And you have seen it all being applied. Look at the headlines. Just open your social media accounts and you see the kind of thing that goes on. To the extent that some of the media, the youngsters, also use their social media accounts actually to manipulate certain realities, to suit certain circumstances, which may not be in their national interest, which may not be even in their long-term interest, Mr. Speaker. There is also an abuse of algorithm in the application of this. You can see certain shortcuts are taken, Mr. Speaker. It's also very difficult because you can see countries that have plunged in civil war, Mr. Speaker, or some of the events, global events that are happening right now. If you follow the social media accounts, like the world is coming to an end. We are almost on the verge of a third world war. That Kenya is beginning to end. And there is going to be a civil war, and we don't have the institutions. So what this motion, and I hope my good friend Mary will take this to the next level and have, I know you'll be criticized, but those will be positive criticisms. You will be remembered later on. That's why I said we must think out of the box. Please translate this, take this to the next level, have it as a bill that allow the public to participate, and ultimately we'll come up with a bill that meets the test of time, a bill that meets the sovereign interest of the people of Kenya, a bill that will protect the rights of any individual, and a bill that will ultimately contribute to the development of this great republic. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this, very progressive. Please don't get tired. Go on, bring the bill as soon as possible. I support.
The MP for Taita Taveta, followed by the Honorable Geoffrey Odanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me a chance to contribute briefly on this motion. And I want to begin by congratulating my colleague, Marianne, for bringing this motion on matters artificial intelligence. And Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I want to say that the world is revolving and it continues to evolve. And truly, AI is an idea that time has come and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to embrace it. And Mr. Speaker, it has its own benefits and challenges. And already it is in practice. So, Mr. Speaker, the only way that we can enjoy or benefit from AI is to regulate it. We have to control so that we benefit from it. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that a lot is being done by AI, like so many things. You get surprised at times you go for shopping and Mr. Speaker, you have your Visa card in the pocket and you just get close to the counter and tap it and everything is sorted. You know, money is removed from your card and you've already settled your bills. and that is the work of AI. At times you pay for parking, and when you're driving your car, before you get to the gates are opening. All that is AI. And many things. So before it gets to matter security and many things on the wrong side, Mr. Speaker, I agree. It is time we regulate it as quick as possible so that we get to enjoy it. So I congratulate my colleague and I support this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Jeffrey Odanga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also add my voice to those who are supporting the artificial intelligence and thank the sponsor of the motion, Honorable Marianne. I want to say, Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, that first of all, let me note that artificial intelligence is very dangerous. It is very dangerous if it is left to run and control itself. And we have seen this, like when we have had WhatsApp and FB and so on, we are seeing people abusing the opportunity to use the social media. So we need to take up this very quickly and fast enough so that it is regulated and controlled. The truth is that AI has already taken the world by storm. It is existing. We are already using it. If we don't control it, it's going to damage and even threaten, like the education system in terms of research, those who do research at masters, at PhD, and for other purposes. This is going to threaten innovation and creativity in our educational institutions. It is also going to be very dangerous in the areas of security and so on. So there is a very, very important need to have it regulated and controlled. Honorable Speaker, I support.
The Honorable Member for Turkana North, Paul Ekwam. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion by Honorable Marianne. Mr. Speaker, whereas we celebrate AI, it's come with serious challenges, and especially with the young people in this country. If it's not going to be regulated, Mr. Speaker, it is going to, one, spoil our generations, two, create very serious issues in this country. We have so many experiences, Mr. Speaker, and so this motion that intend to allow the ministry concerned to regulate and put framework that will guide use of the AI and also create public awareness to our communities has come at a good time. Mr. Speaker, besides that, I would want to also urge that we need to have infrastructure that will also support use and, regulating the information that goes to the public. We also need to benchmark with many other countries, especially in the West, that have had this AI for a long time, so that, as we celebrate the benefits of AI, we also have it used well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Is the MP for Samburu East in the House? Under the circumstances, given the fact that I don't see any other member who intends. Honorable Sani, the MP for Wajir North.
Thank you, sir.
Proceed. The mic is there. Give him the mic, for God's sake. Sene, what did you do to the mic? It was on until you started. You messed. Go to another one. Go to another one. Where else? Where can you get a mic? Oh, yes, fair enough. No, no, come right in front there. Yes, yes. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Artificial intelligence is a new thing. And I'm sure in as much as it is good, we are in a time when everything has to go digital. I'm brought up at a time when things were analog. And we must appreciate the changing times and trends. I know its importance is so immense in terms of decision making, automating tasks, trying to analyze vast data that we cannot do it mechanically, improving efficiency, bringing the best out of customer experience. We can't enumerate the importance of artificial intelligence. However, Mr. Speaker, we are going to a time when we are nearly phasing out the human species. We are becoming robots. We will lose our uniqueness, our originality, that which makes us different from all other creatures. We have been endowed with natural intellect. If everything becomes at our fingertips, we will lose that innate endowment, the intelligence. I think in as much as it is a must that we must accommodate artificial intelligence, it must be done with caution. Actually, we are at a time even the National Examination Council is facing serious challenges in terms of genuineness. A's and B's that used to be rare during our times have become a common grade, yet they can't showcase, they can't justify their grades. That is sufficient to say that we are trying to copy-paste. You ask the artificial intelligence, any gadget, how is this? You pose questions, and it gives you all the raft of answers, and we copy-paste. That is the kind of generation we are looking forward to. If it is good, I think it's good for the military, at most. Like what's happening between Israel and Iran. But for a normal life, in as much as I am reluctantly accepting this. Yes, it is good, but we will diminish as human beings. We will be, it's like another GMO of a human being. Not a natural thing. So I reluctantly accept. Let us accommodate it, but with a lot of caution. I support. Thank you.
There being no more member willing to weigh on this, I'll call upon the mover to reply. Madam Mary Ann Keitani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, first I want to thank all my colleagues who have contributed to this particular motion on a regulatory framework to regulate the artificial intelligence sector of our industry. Honorable Speaker, I think as I mentioned when I was moving the motion, Kenya in 2022 was ranked the 5th in Africa and 90th globally in readiness to adopt artificial intelligence. That is in 2022. In 2025, I believe we have moved far notch higher in both in Africa and in the world. And without regulation and without a framework within which we can now work on to ensure that any artificial intelligence use and readiness is adopted in a regulated framework, then it becomes dangerous for us, especially in the age and era where we are dealing with fake news, in the age and era where we are dealing with economic inequalities and displacements and misinformation that has become a norm of the day. In, again, the same 2022, the Oxford Insights survey pegged Kenya's readiness for AI at 40.3%. I think if today the index is done, we could actually far be above 60% in terms of readiness. And therefore, this regulation couldn't come at a better time. It couldn't be thought through at a better time so that Kenyans and the world at large can be able to appreciate and be able to take advantage of artificial intelligence. I remember, Honorable Speaker, when computers first came into the world and when they finally came into being used around 1956 to about 1980, many people used to see many big machines called mainframes. But today, the computer is as tiny as it's a very tiny thing, and we cannot survive today without computers. Artificial intelligence is quickly and very fast taking shape and taking root in a lot of the activities we do. We travel a lot, and I think a quick example of one of the places artificial intelligence is properly used is, for example, at airports. When you are moving from one terminal to the other, you have a train that is driverless, moving you from one terminal to the other. That is artificial intelligence at play. And we are trusting that train to be able to take you to the other terminal without thinking that, oh, there is no driver inside this train. And so many other technologies. Medicine, today you don't have to go or travel long distances to get very good medical attention. Within the comfort of your home, your country, you can be able to get access to the best doctors, the best medication through artificial intelligence. I can't mention all sectors because every sector of our economy and every sector of our lives is actually now being taken over by artificial intelligence. And we need to appreciate that as a country, as Kenya, we cannot be left behind. We cannot close ourselves out of artificial intelligence. We must be with it, and we must be with the society, and we must move on. And for us to do that so that it is not misused, I think the formulation of this framework or regulation is very important in this sector. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Fair enough. Question will be put at an appropriate time in the future. For now, I'm calling for the next order.
Order number 18. Order number 18, motion, formulation of a land use policy on zoning of land for agriculture and built development.
The Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, is he in the House to move this motion? No? Okay, I defer this motion to another date when Honorable Tim Wanyonyi is going to be around to move his motion. Next order.
Order number 19, formulation of a reward scheme for accomplishments by sports persons in international competitions.
Where is the Honorable Charles Ngusia to move this motion, private member's motion? He's not in the House? Fair enough. I direct that this motion be put on the order paper on an appropriate Wednesday when the Honorable Ngusia can move this private member's motion. Next order.
Order number 20, motion, allocation of help funds to support students enrolled at the Kenya Medical Training College.
The Honorable Shuria was around this morning. He's not in the House now? I'm sure he assumed that these other motions were going to take the time up to 1 o'clock. Under the circumstances, there being nobody to move, Shuria is not moving and he has not delegated that authority to somebody else to move on his behalf. I direct that this motion be put on the order paper at an appropriate date in the future. Next order.
Order number 21, the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 37 of 2023, second reading.
The co-sponsor, Honorable Wamboka. The Honorable Wamboka. Fair enough. Honorable Wamboka is not in the House to move this bill. Under the circumstances, I direct that this be put on the order paper at an appropriate date in the future. Next order.
Order number 22, the Breastfeeding Mothers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2024, second reading.
The Honorable Sabina Chege to move this second reading of this motion, of this bill. Honorable Chege Sabina, MP for Muranga, is it? No, nominated member of Parliament. She is not in the House. I direct that this be put on the order, this bill to be put on the order paper at an appropriate date in the future. Next order.
Order number 23, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 25 of 2023, second reading.
The Honorable Timothy Toroitich. Honorable Timothy Toroitich is not in the House to move this bill as a co-sponsor of the bill itself. Now, I direct that this bill be put on the order paper at an appropriate date in the future when the honorable member will be in a position to move it, to move the second reading. Honorable members, under the circumstances, there being no any other matter on the order paper, honorable members, the time being 12:30, 12:31 actually to be precise, p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, the 18th of June, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.
That financial shortage, a temporary shadow. That health report, subject to my healing power. The real battle isn't yours to fight, it's mine. And my angelic reinforcements have already